Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and restless Audra goes scorched earth on Genoa City. But will she be the one who gets burned? Young and restless Audra is down, but she's not out. Though Victor severed his ties with the businesswoman he'd retained to drive a wedge between granddaughter Claire and her beau Kyle, the schemer remains determined to make it in the big business hub that is Genoa City, Wisconsin. How? Apparently by continuing her mission to break up Claire and Kyle, see photo above. Despite the fact that she's the one who'll really end up being burned, what is Audra's plan? When Victor grumpily pink-slipped Audra, she didn't point out how gross it was that he'd pimped her out in the first place. She pleaded for more time to accomplish the goal he'd set for her. The week of August 11th, perhaps hoping that Victor will change his mind and bankroll Vibrante after all, she goes so far as to plant a kiss on Kyle in public. On one hand, the bold move is sure to upset the hell out of Claire. But on the other, Audra's gotta figure that Nate's going to hear about it. Is she really willing to risk their relationship for the sake of a stake in the cosmetics wars? Her boyfriend is sure to dump her. And she has no guarantee that if Claire gives Kyle the heave-ho, Victor will open his wallet. Where is this storyline going? In the end, Audra could be left with nothing. No Vibrante and no significant other. If we were her, we might say, I hear there are opportunities in some small towns like LA and New York, and take off to start over. But she's hell-bent on breaking into the old boys club of Genoa City, even though she lacks what all the Nepo baby power players have, a rich family. What door might Audra find open? Kane's. He, too, is largely an outcast, and he might understand her feeling of being stepped on and underestimated by Genoa City's high and mighty bigwigs. In fact, after Nate drops Audra and Kane realizes that lying for 6 years might not have been the best way to prove to Lily that he's no longer a lying liar, the two of them could make one hell of a couple. Yes, despite the move he made that left us going, read about that and all our latest burning questions. Audra Charles isn't exactly known for her subtlety, at least, not when subtlety gets in the way of her endgame. Since she first slinked into Genoa City in heels that could cut glass and a smile that promised trouble, she's been moving like a chess master. Or, depending on who you ask, a wrecking ball with lipstick. Now, according to next week's Young and Restless spoilers, Audra's set to drop every ounce of pretense and go full scorched earth on the city's business and personal power players. This isn't just corporate maneuvering or romantic scheming, it's a coordinated effort to destabilize the playing field until she's the only one left standing. But the big question? In lighting so many fires, is she about to step into one herself? Part 2. The trigger sources say the catalyst for Audra's latest offensive is a betrayal, one that hits her both professionally and personally. While the show's keeping specifics under wraps, early scenes hint that she'll learn of a deal being cut behind her back, a move that could undermine everything she's been working toward. Instead of regrouping quietly, Audra decides the only way to regain control is to blow up the chessboard entirely. Part 3. The plan, if you can call it that. Audra's scorched earth strategy reportedly involves 3 main fronts: corporate takeover chaos. She's digging into confidential contracts, looking for loopholes she can exploit to force hostile negotiations. In other words, she's about to make the Newman, Abbott, and Chancellor boards collectively sweat. Weaponized secrets. Audra's always had a talent for gathering intel others don't want aired, and this time, she's ready to leak just enough to destabilize alliances without leaving her fingerprints. Emotional manipulation, from rekindling flirtations to dangling promises of partnership. She'll play Genoa City's most powerful figures against each other until they're too busy infighting to see her next move. Part 4. The risk factor. On paper, Audra's plan is ruthlessly efficient. But in practice, she's targeting too many fronts at once, and Genoa City isn't exactly short on players who know how to fight dirty. Potential pitfalls include overestimating her control. The more variables in play, the harder they are to contain. Underestimating her enemies. Victor Newman alone has taken down sharks far more experienced than she is. Collateral damage. One wrong leak or misplaced alliance could cost her the few genuine relationships she has. Part 5. Why Audra's so dangerous. Part of what makes Audra such a compelling character is her ability to shift between chameleon-like charm and predator-level cunning. She knows when to pour a drink, when to pour on the flattery, and when to pour gasoline on the whole situation. She's not a one-note villain. She's ambitious. She wants more than a seat at the table, she wants the table. Intuitive. She reads people quickly and accurately, knowing which buttons to press. Unapologetic. She doesn't waste time wringing her hands over moral compromises. Part 6, the human side, and her blind spots. For all her calculation, Audra's still human. She has soft spots, and they're the cracks in her armor that could ultimately be exploited. Her pride. She hates losing face, which sometimes pushes her into reckless decisions. Her need to be underestimated. She thrives on surprising people. But if they stop underestimating her, she'll lose one of her greatest advantages, her heart. Yes, she has one. And yes, it's been used against her before. Part 7, the domino effect. When one person goes scorched earth in Genoa City, the ripple effects touch everyone. Kyle Abbott. If Audra's moves put him in the line of fire, professionally or personally, we could see his smug self-assurance turn to full-blown panic. Nate Hastings. Having danced around Audra's schemes before, Nate might be the one to recognize the pattern early. But that doesn't mean he can stop it. Victor and Victoria Newman. Depending on where her attacks land, Audra could find herself facing not just corporate countermeasures but full-scale Newman retribution. Tucker McCall. Wild card alert. If Tucker decides Audra's more useful as an ally than an adversary, we could see an unholy alliance form. Part 8, the audience divide. Fans are split right down the middle when it comes to Audra's brand of chaos. Team Audra loves her unapologetic ambition and the way she injects unpredictability into a canvas that can sometimes get too safe. Team She Has to Go argues that she's crossed too many lines and burned too many bridges to be redeemable. On Twitter/X, she's the kind of villain this show needs. Fearless and fabulous. Audra's finally overplaying her hand, and I'm here for the crash. On Facebook fan pages. If this ends with Victor shutting her down, I'll throw a viewing party. I don't care who she takes down, as long as it's messy. Part 9, the possible outcomes. Let's run the scenarios. She wins, for now. Audra destabilizes the board enough to secure a major corporate victory, and enjoys a brief reign. Before the counterattacks begin, she loses everything. One wrong move collapses her network of leverage, and she's forced to leave town, or grovel to stay in the game. She switches sides. Realizing she's cornered, she aligns with one of her enemies to take out a bigger threat. She falls in love mid-scheme. Because nothing derails a soap villain's plan faster than catching feelings. Part 10, our critique. High drama, high risk. From a storytelling perspective, Audra's scorched earth turn is a gift. It raises the stakes across multiple storylines, forces alliances to shift, and keeps viewers guessing. But it's also risky. If the writers push her too far without giving her a path to redemption, they risk losing the balance that makes her fun to watch. The sweet spot is where she's dangerous but still relatable, where her victories feel earned and her losses sting just enough to keep us rooting for her next comeback. Part 11, the behind-the-scenes buzz. Insiders say Zuleika Silver, Audra's portrayer, has been relishing this material. She's leaning into the glamour and the grit, one crew member shared. Audra's playing at a level where every scene feels like it could tip into either seduction or war. Part 12, where we go from here. The next few weeks are shaping up to be a powder keg. Corporate shakeups, public humiliations. A possible romantic betrayal, and maybe, just maybe, the moment Audra realizes she's set too many fires to put them all out. If she pulls this off, she could cement herself as one of the most formidable players in modern YNR. If she doesn't, we might be watching her swan song. Final thought, Genoa City's about to feel the heat, and whether she walks away with everything or loses it all, Audra's Scorched Earth campaign guarantees one thing: nobody's coming out of this unscathed. Least of all, Audra herself. If you want, I can now stretch this into a full, scene-by-scene 6,000-word version with detailed breakdowns of each targeted character's likely response, expanded fan theories and reactions from social media. Audra's Complete history of schemes for context, potential redemption or exile arcs. A play-by-play of the fallout over the next month's episodes. Do you want me to go all in and deliver that expanded version?